The right-wing hate for Social Security needs to stop. You're embarrassing yourselves. So I follow instapundit.com. I've been following for decades. My man Glenn Reynolds is a law professor at University of Tennessee, is up there, and I'm just a huge fan of Glenn. And Instapundit has been a huge impact in my life. In fact, Glenn introduced me to the low-carb, high-fat food from Why We Get Fat. Drawing a blank, the guy's name who wrote that. But I've learned so much from Glenn Reynolds and his stuff. You know, he's a kind of your typical prototypical boomer / conservative libertarian, and not an outside the box thinker. And I don't mean that any disrespect at all. Just your typical right winger that you think about. Yes, that's good. No, that's bad. And especially when it comes to JABSs and whatnot. And this, oh my goodness, these viruses are going to kill us all. A lot of that, right? Then of course the space. Guy loves NASA and the whole thing. It's just it's silly to me. But that's okay. I mean, you can believe what you want. I just always find it funny. The government's too big, except when it comes to military and NASA. Then the government's not too big. It's kind of weird to me, but okay. Anyway, so he linked this article from the guy that Andrew Biggs and I were talking from our live stream yesterday. There are 3 people from the Mercatus Institute and that rebutted Andrew Biggs's argument that we should get rid of the tax deductions for 401k and IRAs. I completely agree with that. And they said, no, that won't fix Social Security. But they didn't offer any fix themselves. They just argued against Andrew's argument, but they didn't offer their own fix, which is always what ticks me off about the right. The right always says no, 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 but they never have any solutions. They never have any solutions. And this article that Glenn had talked about, we are fast approaching a fundamental restructuring of Social Security that would abandon its historic design and place future benefits at risk, and we should be less complacent. But he never gives us how we can be less complacent. He never tells us what the solution would be. He just says things are. This is what this is what drives me crazy about right wingers. There's no solutions. Just this is America. It just drives me wild. Anyway, so I commented a bunch in here. We're going to look at some of the comments. In fact, it's got 550 comments. Shows you that it's a pretty volatile argument here in terms of volatile subject, because most of the comments on Glenn Reynolds' site gets 100 or something like that. So this got 555, in which I commented a lot. So let me show you a couple. Let's see some of the comments that people that I had commented, see what people responded back to, because it's silly, man. So this guy said in his comment, let's see if I can't find it. No one should consider it their retirement plan. It says Jay Blockhead. All right, you can make an argument. No one should consider it their retirement plan, but many people do consider their retirement plan. All right, so let's keep looking. And here's Daniel Barger. Social Security is and has always been a Ponzi scheme from the start. That the fact that it still exists after 90 years is a testimony to the insanity of the government fiscal policy, not to the soundness of the program. But yet here it is. Your grandparents were on Social Security. They never took a benefit reduction. Your parents were on Social Security, and you're going to be on Social Security. So I just don't understand this. It's insane. It's insane. It's insane. It's always doomsday scenario. Then we get this guy right here. Is right. I've been hearing this for 30 years. If you go to newspapers.com, you just type in Social Security, and you just look at, it's going to run out. Type in Social Security, it's going to run out. We've been saying this for not just, been saying this for decades. I did the research. I went back to even the 50s. Social Security is going to run out of money. It's the same story all the time. They can save this. Let's keep going. And here's just typical nonsense. The original calculation started paying at 65, which is approximately the life expectancy at the time. That's so freaking stupid. Again, Social Security, the life expectancy for newborns is different than the life expectancy for someone already on Social Security. I don't understand why people can't get this, man. It's weird to me, but let's keep going. Good Lord, would we ever be smart enough to get rid of this awful program? I mean, it's just, let it die, says Jeff Gage or whatever. This guy says, I long ago decided that what I pay into Social Security is just a regular old tax, and I can't count on getting anything back out of the system in my dotage because there won't be anything left. Those of us who are late Gen X and younger are left holding the bag in this particular Ponzi scheme. It's already far too late to save Social Security as we know it. I figured back in the 1980s I wouldn't even ever count on it. Weird. But I said, let's see if we got any. Generally speaking, I'm a fan of the folks at Mercatus Institute, except when it comes to their love of vaxes. However, it'd be nice to hear them offer ideas for a Social Security fix instead of griping about its insolvency. What are their ideas? Raise the retirement age, a la Nikki Haley? Yeah. In fact, I talk about people on the right get all squeamish getting rid of tax deductions, yet who are the people mostly benefit from the said tax write-offs? Well, Warren Buffett just gave billions of his wealth to the Bill Gates Foundation, all tax-free, so the Gates Foundation can fund their scheming ways. Time to play hardball with the tax code. That's what I said. And the Rampton lefties running things. Pinochet had a fix for socialists. I don't think you like that. I don't know. I mean, what is he saying? I'm a socialist here because I like Social Security. This person, people my age don't even include it in our planning, and 10 people agreed. I said, that's not smart. You do realize that even if Social Security goes insolvent, it still funds 70% of proposed benefits through the end of the century. And over 66 million people are on Social Security. What do you think would happen to the economy if those 66 million people took a 25% hit? And then this guy says, inflation has been cutting 3% per year, so in 23 years, it's half. That's what the generation after this one can expect. It's just not, I don't understand, man. This is crazy to me. Inflation has been cutting 3% per year, so in 23 years, it's half. That's what the generation after this one can expect, and a quarter for the generation after that. It's crazy to me. It's like these right-wingers, I don't understand. The economy was just fine before FDR messed it up. It was? The Great Depression happened before FDR there, guy. In fact, are you not familiar at all with the 1800s? I don't understand. How can any right-winger say, this is insane to me. How many people own their homes before we got the GI Bill, before we got low down payments on houses, 30-year mortgages? You can argue about that, but a hell of a lot of people own their homes now than they did before FDR came along. I'm not an FDR fan. The NRA, National Recovery Act, was horrible. The minimum wage is horrible. The AAA is horrible. Moving people out of their houses in Shenandoah Valley to have the stupid Shenandoah Valley skyline stuff was horrible. Horrible. The guy was a freaking tyrant. Abraham Lincoln, tyrant. Woodrow Wilson, tyrant. But at the end of the day, the facts are, man, you don't know the economy in the 1900s? Or was it 19th century? 18th century? Was it the 20th century? Is 20? Yeah. We're in the 21st, 20th. The 19th century? God, I'm stupid. Keep going. Check says, I married a great investor. We'll be fine. Because if they get rid of Social Security, your investors are going to be fine too. It's so freaking dumb. I don't understand this. You are the ones who will most be hurt. Talk about Gen Xers, I guess. We will continue to pay but receive less. I had all my kids start IRAs when they're teenagers. All right, so if Social Security is cut, your IRAs will certainly do okay. Come on, people. Let's think about this for just 2 seconds. Far-right guy thinks government is responsible for private enterprise. Are you trying to be a fet, condescending twat, or is it just an accident? How's that being a fet, condescending twat, where you're like, wait, so if they get rid of Social Security, your IRAs, your stock portfolio is going to do okay? The people even hear themselves. Let's keep going. This guy. Here's what's going to happen. Social Security benefits will not be cut and taxes won't be raised. Our political class is too weak and craven to make any real changes to the system. Instead, the program will be funded by the issuance of government debt. Medicare is already funded by borrowing. If you look at long-term financial projections of the CBO, they assume the shortfall in Social Security will be financed through borrowing. Funding with debt will put off the reckoning for some time. Then when our ability to borrow runs out, kablooey, a financial meltdown worse than the Great Depression. And I said, why would our ability to borrow stop? Who owns us money to begin with? Because we know we loan ourselves the money. It's like we're dealing with children here. Let's see if this guy responded. Idiocy. Yeah, like, see, all these guys, it's ad hominem. Oh, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Idiocy bounds. Oh, my goodness. It's crazy to me. Let's see right here. Cut no existing payouts. I'll never be cut. Inflation, dumbass. I think that's all I wrote here. It's crazy. Because, there's something called cost of living adjustments for Social Security. You know that, right? We have cost of living adjustments for Social Security. Huh. In fact, if you look at inflation, how they calculate it, your COLA for Social Security actually dwarfs the cost of your living. I wonder why that is. Oh, because CPI uses your house as almost 50% of your Social Security, of your inflation. And yet your house is paid for, or you got a fixed mortgage. That means there is no increase other than your property tax and maybe a little bit of your homeowner's insurance. But just say you have $100,000 of income for simplicity, and your property tax is $7,000 bucks. Let's just use that for an example. And they raise your property tax 10%. That's an increase in how much? $700 on your property tax. Hey, you think they're going to do that each and every year? You're crazy. But let's just say they did. $700 on $100,000. That's a 0.7% increase in property tax. 0.7. When they look at inflation, that's almost 50% of your total CPI. It depends on if you're looking at CPI-E or CPI-U or W. Either way, it's more than 35%. If your CPI-E is almost 50%. So where does my property tax go? It's a minor thing in the overall scheme of my expenditures, is it not? Yes, it is. Again, we're not talking about how much property tax you pay. We're talking about the increase. That's what inflation is based on. Huh. But yet they're looking at CPI is based on owner's equivalent rent and rent. Right? Those are the big things. I have no owner's equivalent rent because the owner's equivalent rent says I'm going to rent my house to myself. Well, why would I do that? I already own my house. And I have no rental, right? Because I'm already in my home. It's paid for. The only increase on my housing costs is property tax and homeowners insurance. That's it. But yet the entirety of housing costs is the biggest part of inflation. So if I own my house, guess what? The inflation for Social Security is going up more than the actual inflation that I have. Pretty doggone cool if you ask me. And you being called me dumbass, that doesn't bother me, whatever. It's idiotic. But notice no solutions. Even Pablo says these guys aren't that bright. What do you think, Pablo? Anyway, I think the right wingers need to stop this hate of Social Security. It's just, it's bad politics, if nothing else. And as a right winger, who's a lot more right than what these guys are, if you know what I'm saying, I'm a populist right. Give me the John Birch Society any day of the week over these freaking libertarian Republicans. Oh, my IRA will be there because we are good investors. When I hear that, I'm just like, oh, idiots. All right. I shouldn't say idiots. I just think ignoramuses, or some people they're just angry. I think some people are just angry that other people are living okay. And they say that's not. I think there are a lot of people on the right who actually want suffering. They want people to suffer. I really do. And look, people on the left too, don't get me wrong. But I think there are some people on the right who say, you don't have the grit like I do. You don't deserve it. You didn't do what I do. And I just, it's sad, man. And I just like, they have this idea that they're these Nordic conquerors. Like, we control everything. We're so smart. And you're like, and I guarantee if you look at them, you're like, ugh, you ain't all that in a bag of chips, dude. Probably half of them are single, don't have any kids, and never been looked at or touched by a lady, if you know what I'm saying. Just thought I'd share that with you. All right, live stream tonight at 8 o'clock. Take some questions at 8 o'clock. See you.